Okay, so it's the 1st of March 2021 and I've just come back from a 9-hour work day, and I've decided that I'm going to document parts of my journey. So the first question could be, why document your journey? Well, as a dyspraxic learner, I want to hold myself accountable. And we're going to be talking about a variety of things, whether it's the music that I'm listening to, the books that I'm currently reading, and also going to talk about my training and diet. So basically, we're going to be capturing my thoughts and activities. So at the moment, my life can be divided in 3 sections, and those sections are work, my masters, and YouTube. Now, I won't be talking specifically about my work, but I will be talking about some of the thoughts that I'm having, etc. Actually, as I was walking into work today, I was listening to Oyster 5-9's new song, and I really enjoyed that. And then later on, I was listening to Ransom. And if you're into hip-hop, these are 2 really good hip-hop artists. And later, I'll probably listen to some Miles Davis just to balance it out. So, I have finished work, so I finished my 9 hours at work, and now it's time to work out. Now, because I have dyspraxia, I've historically had some issues with working out. Clearly, if you have coordination disorder, which is part of dyspraxia, or gross and fine motor issues, then this is going to be part and parcel. For example, I always struggled with doing a bench press. So in a long-winded way, what I'm saying is that I've had to cater a workout routine which is dyspraxia friendly. Now, before I tell you what I do working out, let me quickly tell you why I work out. So for me, working out is important because it helps stabilize my mood. I can get really bad low mood, so to me, I have to work out every day. So it's not for, to look good aesthetically, it's to effectively manage my mental health. So as stated before, there are some movements I cannot do, but these are the things that I did today. So I did some walking around my apartment. I also did some moving around my apartment with regards to, like boxing movement. Then I did some boxing punches with a very, very light weight. And then I did what you can call virtual skipping. I also incorporated some other additional exercises, and as I was working out, I was playing an Evander Holyfield fight because that just happens to be one of my favorite fighters. So when I'm working out, I'm trying to get to at least 10,000 steps a day. So here's a logical question. Why are you working out to get to 10,000 steps a day? Well, according to the mathematics on my phone, if I do 10,000 steps, this is equivalent of burning 500 calories, and this is effective for, this is a good way to indicate that I'm working. Also, from a scientific standpoint, to my understanding, the calories in and calories out is still a viable way to maintain a healthy body weight. So once I finished working out, I then had a shower, and after the shower, then I started, writing down some notes that will help me film this. So that's where we are so far for today, which is the 1st of March. So what's my plans for the rest of the evening? So I plan to go to the shop to get some coconut milk. The reason I drink coconut milk is because I really struggle with dairy milk. Dairy milk, I have so many problems with it, so I've had to make that switch. Then after that, I will use the coconut milk to make a shake, which I'm currently doing a diet where I'm using Huel. So this is going to be a meal replacement shake for the evening. And then after this, I plan to continue doing some reading. And I'm currently reading a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and all I can say is that book is absolutely phenomenal. I will actually probably make a separate video on that. And then after that, well, hopefully I do that. And then after that, hopefully if I have enough time, then I will do some preparation work, because I have an assessment for my master's this Friday. Now this is a bit random, but yesterday I was watching an interview by Russell Brand, and he was interviewing someone, and they were talking about this book where a stockbroker in his 40s decides to become a painter. So I need to find out what that book is called, because that's definitely going to be another book that will be going on my reading list. So that's the end of today, and hopefully I will be vlogging tomorrow. And just to say, I sincerely hope you're enjoying the content so far. So today it's March the 2nd, 2021. But before we talk about today, let's recap yesterday evening. So as I intended, I went to the shop, I purchased 2 coconut milks, and then when I came back, I read some more of Man's Search for Meaning. So after that, I then decided that I wanted to work out some more. So I did a very small workout, but in this workout I wanted to try something different. So mostly when I work out, I'll listen to either hip hop music or I will put on a boxing match. But I decided that I was going to try something different, so I actually worked out to a different genre of music. So as I was working out, I put on some Miles Davis, and this was a very good experience actually. I actually really enjoyed the workout while working out to this music, and overall, yesterday I burnt 700 calories. I then did a short session on my master's presentation, which is due this week. And then after that, I wound down, I watched some YouTube. Noticeably, I was watching Connor Ben's vlog. And this was like a training vlog. And he's in great shape, so that was quite motivational. So now it's March the 2nd, 2021. So let's discuss what we've done so far. So I've just completed a 9-hour shift from work, and I'm extremely tired. But despite this, I still, when I came home, I decided to get straight into a workout because I wanted to reach my goal of 10,000 steps, burning 500 calories. In my workout, I did like a 7-round circuit, and I was listening to Betty Carter, or I was training while Betty Carter was on, and all I can say to that is what a beautiful voice. And again, I felt that this really enhanced the training experience. Now in my 7-round circuit, this consisted of various things. So it consisted of moving, it consisted of punching with 1 kg weights, it consisted of virtual skipping, and then it also consisted of bicep curls with a resistance band. To me, this was a good workout. It was a very short workout, but it was a good workout. And then I moved on to preparing my notes for this video. And by the way, I have already reached my 10,000 step, 500 calorie goal for today, which is brilliant. Now, while I was drafting my notes, for some reason I decided to search French jazz. And I was listening to this French jazz music, which was really good. It was sonically really soothing. To me, this makes me think that in some cases, music can be so powerful that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And this is evidenced in the fact that I can appreciate music with lyrics that I don't even understand, yet I can still enjoy it thoroughly. So this evening I plan to do a very short session on prepping for the presentation that I have for my masters. And hopefully if I've got any additional energy, I will perhaps do a walk, hopefully get some more reading in as well. After that, I will hopefully get a chance to listen to some great music. I'm just really getting into jazz again, really enjoying jazz, particularly the French jazz. I really like that, so hopefully I'll encounter some more great music from there, and probably watch some more YouTube content, and I'll share all of this tomorrow. And also, before I go for today, I think it's important to realize that I'm actually using a productivity tip, which is in the evening I'm not actually cooking. Instead, I'm preparing Huel shakes. And the reason behind this is that by not cooking, which means, you know, not cooking, then eating and cleaning, this is giving me additional time to be productive, and therefore is fighting what is considered decision fatigue. So that's it for today. We'll catch up tomorrow, and I'm sincerely hoping that you're enjoying the content so far. Now, before I go to bed, I feel that it's important to relate these situations back to dyspraxia. And this is what I came up with. So even though I have a condition that can hinder organization, it doesn't mean that I can't be productive. It just means that I need to find ways, or I need to find adjustments to enable myself to be productive. In this sense, this is like a part of evolution. So even though we have a condition that hinders, or that can hinder organization and hinder productivity, we find strategies that can still enable us to be productive. And that's important. And I think that, you know, that reflects in the story of evolution. Evolution is about making changes and adaptations to evolve. And I feel that I'm making adaptations in my routine to enable myself to be productive, even though that may be hard for me to do. And in that sense, the important message is here. It's not about battling others. It's not about being in competition with others. It's about being better than you was yesterday. We are all different. We all have different strengths. We all have different weaknesses. And we may not be able to be better at certain people at certain things, but we can be better today than we were yesterday. And that to me is the focus. So today is March the 3rd, and let's briefly recap on yesterday. So in the evening, I had quite a long session on prepping for my master's presentation on Friday. I spent a good productive 70 minutes, so I was really happy about that. I mean, I'm really trying to take the master's seriously, and I'm also trying to be a master of productivity. With regards to food, I had my Huel shake, but also I had a triple cheeseburger, and I shouldn't have had it, but it was absolutely delicious. And then after that, I started to do some reading, and I then started to feel sick. So I had to do something which I don't like to do, and that was quit. So I had to quit the rest of my schedule because I was feeling sick. And this got me thinking that yesterday I quit, but that doesn't make me a quitter, because I had to quit yesterday, and that enabled me to be better today. And for reference, this reminded me of a book I read from Seth Godin. I believe it was called The Dip, where it spoke about the notion that winners quit often. They just quit the right things. So yesterday made me realize that sometimes you have to quit things, and that doesn't necessarily make you a failure. And just to finally sum up yesterday, I achieved my 10,000 step goal, which means I burnt 500 calories. And this to me reminds me of a book I read from Charles Duhigg, which basically states that, people that are effective have successful habits. And currently I'm building up a habit system of consistently doing these 10,000 steps every single day. So I've completed my 9-hour shift today, and the thought that's been going through my mind today is how good people can create a good environment. And that's key. Good people create a good environment as opposed to the environment creating good people. And of course you might say, well, a positive environment creates good people, but this is a different context, and the context here is that good people are a very, very powerful currency. And you might say, well, how do you define a good person? And that is actually a good question, but I am way too tired to answer that right now. Anyway, today, with regards to the music I've been listening to, I've actually been listening to French jazz, specifically the Avalon Jazz Band. And this has got me thinking. It made me realize that, well, number one, I like different genres of music, but it made me realize that music is actually a very powerful thing, and it's a very important thing in my life. I guess music is powerful, and the right music can really touch your soul. So my plans for later is to go for a walk and hopefully get some training in, but I'm really, really feeling tired. So if I do any training, it will be very, very moderate. And by the way, walking to me is a great thing. That's another thing that's very integral in my life, is walking. And I actually find walking to be extremely therapeutic. I think it was Nietzsche that said, the greatest ideas are conceived while walking. I think he said that. I might be wrong. Anyway, while I go for my walk, I'm thinking that I'm definitely going to pick up some coconut milk, but I may pick up a Jamaican patty, because at the moment I'm really, really just craving a Jamaican patty. If you've never tried a Jamaican patty before, you ought to try one. And I always love eating Jamaican patties. A bit random, I know. So the main focus of this evening will be to do another session on my master's presentation. So hopefully I'll be able to do some more work on my master's presentation, and this will hopefully enable me to have the first draft of the presentation done. And if I achieve this, then we are on schedule. And this leads into my first activity tomorrow, which is an online meeting with my support specialist. Now, for those that don't know, if you're going through university, a support specialist is there to help people that have additional support needs. So another way to put it is that my support specialist is there to help me with regards to removing my barriers with regards to dyspraxia. And with that being said, I think this is an important thing to note, and that is, never let a label define you. So I'm not trying to let dyspraxia define me in a negative way. I mean, I'm trying to create a situation where my dyspraxia is actually empowering to my journey. And part of that empowerment is sharing this journey. And before I go, I'm going to introduce a quote of the day, which is from Theodore Roosevelt. Quote, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." And that's the end of the vlog for today. I hope you're enjoying the content, and I'm hoping you're having a great day. So it's March the 4th, but before we get into today, let's recap yesterday evening. So the main thing was that I'd done my 10,000 steps, burnt my 500 calories, and I completed the first draft of my presentation, and I'm very proud of that. So this morning there was a little bit of a change, because I decided that after 5 months that I was going to weigh myself today. And the reason I'd waited for 5 months, or the reason I haven't weighed myself for 5 months, is because I was very frustrated. I was so frustrated with the lack of results that I was producing. And I wanted to weigh myself again because I wanted to start tracking my progress, even though I had that disappointment. And if I'm honest, that disappointment was affecting me psychologically. But I wanted to try and face that fear and to try and persevere through it. And to my surprise, once I jumped on the scale, I have actually lost 14 kg in 5 months. And I've also lost 7% body fat. So body fat and visceral fat are now at healthy levels according to my app. The only thing I need to focus on now is limiting my subcutaneous fat. And you could critique these results and say maybe it's a one-off, or you could say that body fat scales are inaccurate, and there could be some truth to that. But at the end of the day, a body fat scale, yes, it's not going to give you a definite reading, but it does give you an indication of progress. So because of this created the psychological impact of having a good start to the day. So the next part of the day was the 1-hour support session with my support specialist. And this was a good session as always. And the highlight of this session was the positive reassurance that was given to me because we went through my presentation. Sincere positive reassurance is always good for one's psychological confidence. And again, I always get value from these support sessions. And just for the record, these support sessions now are actually done online, and they've really had a great effect. To be honest, I feel that partly because the support sessions have kept me on the master's program. I mean, if I'm honest, the journey hasn't been straight, but in reality, the journey is never straight. And the important thing is that I'm grateful. And then after that, I went to work, and I actually had a meaningful and productive day. So it was a really good day at work. And the random lesson I learned today, or that was going through my head today, was that people change. And I imagined that an enemy yesterday can be a friend today. And on top of that, empathy is very important. So to understand the situation, you need to understand where the people are coming from in that situation. So if there's a situation regarding 5 people, you need to understand those 5 different perspectives. This reminds me of the saying that knowledge is power. And to me, I think knowledge is potential power, but when the knowledge is used, then it becomes power. I'm actually feeling happy and content today. And this leads me to the quote of the day by Abraham Lincoln. Quote, "My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure." End of quote. Being content is important, even when we face failure. So my plan for the rest of the evening is pretty straightforward. Getting my 10,000 steps, burning my 500 calories a day. Actually, it might not be 500 calories a day now because my body weight has changed significantly, so I need to recalculate that. I plan to do some B-roll for this project that I'm recording now, so I'm hopefully getting to do some of that B-roll. And I'll probably do the final touches for my presentation, which I will be doing tomorrow. So before I go for today, 2 messages really. Number 1, dyspraxia makes me stronger. So I thought that had a nice little ring to it. And number 2 is to create every day. And so far this week, I have been succeeding in doing this. So my final vlog for this project will be tomorrow, when I will be recapping how the presentation went. So with that being said, I hope you're sincerely enjoying the content this far, and I'll see you tomorrow. So now it's March the 5th, and there's not much to recap from the rest of the evening from yesterday because I had a takeaway and it actually made me ill. So that cancelled my evening and it cancelled my morning, and fortunately I didn't have work this morning. And of course there's a lesson to learn here. I mean, I've had digestive issues, so me making the conscious decision to get a takeaway cost me, and it had an opportunity cost of my, of losing the evening of potential productivity and losing the morning to potential productivity. And I take full accountability of that, and it's important to take accountability because if you don't take accountability, then it's hard for you to progress. But the one good thing was that I had this takeaway before I achieved my step goal. So this didn't compromise my 10,000 steps a day. So that was positive. So today was my uni presentation, and in this presentation, it was an informal assessment. I learned a great philosophical lesson, and that philosophical lesson was always turn your phone off when you're doing a presentation, even if it's online. All jokes aside, this was very frustrating. A web company tried to call me 7 times. So I kept cancelling the call and they kept trying to call, and obviously this partially compromised my presentation. But fortunately, the lecturers that were viewing the presentation were very forgiving, and I was able to overcome this hurdle. And despite that irritation, I actually had a positive experience in this online presentation. The lecturers were they were reassuring with affirming that what I was doing was good, and they actually gave me some really positive feedback in how I could develop the work. So I'm grateful for that. So within the master's context, I feel I've had a good day. And with that being said, the quote of the day is from philosopher John Dewey, which is, quote, "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." End of quote. I think that's some really good food for thought. So what are my final thoughts? Well, one of my final thoughts is that if you have IBS and a presentation the next day, don't order a takeaway that can compromise your digestive system. But all jokes aside, let's finish with talking about dyspraxia. And I think one of the important things for me in this little video vlog, one of my takeaways is that even though there's a relationship between dyspraxia and bad organization, I am not allowing dyspraxia to compromise my organization. So you can have dyspraxia and you can still be organized even though dyspraxia affects your organization. So I feel like I've had a productive week, and that's a positive thing. I also want to add to this, and I will say that I actually feel that dyspraxia can be a positive thing. And I feel that my divergent way of thinking is actually dyspraxia driven as opposed to convergent thinking. Let me just briefly break that down. So convergent thinking is finding one solution, while divergent thinking is finding multiple solutions. And within the master's context, adopting a divergent thinking approach is actually beneficial. So not only am I not letting dyspraxia hold me back, I'm utilizing parts of dyspraxia that are enhancing my creativity, so it becomes a positive experience. So in this sense, you create a context where dyspraxia is enhancing my life as opposed to hindering my life. And the disclaimer there is, to get to that point, you have to understand the context of why organization is not affecting me, because I'm taking steps, I'm finding strategies to compensate for that, and also understanding that, I feel that there's a relationship between dyspraxia and divergent thinking. So with all that being said, that's the end of this experience, and I sincerely hope you have enjoyed the content. If you have enjoyed this content, then please let me know. And if you think that there's things I can add, or if you have any form of constructive criticism, then all of that is very much welcome, and I do try to respond to every single comment. So thanks for watching this journey, and hopefully see you again soon.